Zenon, the story of a failure. Part 1, The Averageness. Once in a bustling town, there lived a boy named Zenon. He was an introvert person and not talked much. His house was in a remote house where there were no kids to play, and didn't had many friends. Whenever he was asked something, he only answered what he was asked, and he was an average student who put in a lot of effort to maintain his grades. However, what motivated Zenon wasn't a love for learning but the fear of disappointing his father. Zenon's father, Mr. Patel, had high expectations for his son. He believed that only grades above 90% were acceptable. Whenever Zenon brought home a report card with a 90% score, his father would scowl and say, "You could do better." These words haunted Zenon. Every evening, Zenon would return from school and bury himself in his textbooks, working diligently to understand and memorize every lesson. He attended extra tutoring sessions and stayed up late into the night studying. His classmates admired his dedication, even though they didn't know the true reason behind it. Zenon's fear of his father's disappointment pushed him to study harder and longer hours. He would often stay up late, poring over textbooks, striving to achieve those elusive marks above 90%. He sacrificed his free time, his hobbies, and even friendships to meet his father's expectations. Years passed, and Zenon continued to score exceptionally high marks. However, he felt empty inside. He was no longer studying because he loved to learn, he was studying to avoid his father's wrath. He longed for a kind word or a pat on the back from his father, but it never came. One day, as Zenon received his report card with a 95% score, he felt a mix of relief and sadness. He showed it to his father, hoping this would finally earn him some praise. But Mr. Patel's response was the same cold disapproval. Despite the pressure and fear, Zenon managed to consistently score above 90% in all his exams. His report cards were impeccable, but his life became empty. But the fate had arranged to turn his life. Thank you for watching. Be tuned for part 2.